Have you ever been in the situation where you have to do a very important presentation or talk to members of your team and you feel pressure with lots of eyes looking at you and almost trying to guess your emotions and what are you going through? This is called the spotlight effect. And in this video I'm going to explain you how can you get rid of all your anxiety by understanding that in reality no one cares about you, your thoughts or your emotions. Only yourself. In the year 2000, in the Cornell University in the United States, some psychologists ran an experiment called the Barry-Manilow experiment, where basically some students wear an embarrassing t-shirt into a class and they were trying to guess how many of the people from the actual class, from their peers, were going to realize that they were actually wearing a very embarrassing t-shirt. Most of the students said that 50% of the class will realize that they were wearing this embarrassing t-shirt. But the truth was that only 20% noticed. We are our own center of the universe. We are our own observers. Nobody is observing us as much as we think they're observing us. This applies for loads of people that have social anxiety or these type of thoughts of everyone is gonna look at me, everyone is gonna understand what I'm thinking or my emotions, I'm gonna be very nervous. I have seen this experiment in real life multiple times because when you're talking to people in public and they are in the moment where they have to expose an idea or something in class, they believe everyone is observing them and they think people will notice that they're very nervous or that they have anxiety to be talking in public and so on. And when they express that to people in general, usually the normal response is, oh, you didn't look nervous. Were you nervous? Really? Oh, you did fantastic. So it's always the opposite thought. That means that the spotlight effect, it's a psychological trick that our mind is placing to ourselves to actually think that we are being observed by somebody. Of course, there's somebody that can notice things on ourselves, like, you know, the way we dress and so on. But how often do you remember other people for the way they dressed on a certain day or the makeup they wear on a certain day? It's really unlikely. You remember people for the feelings and emotions that you felt with them on a particular day, not for the way they look. Every time you feel anxious or you feel observed, or you feel somebody is actually looking at you, don't pay attention to those thoughts because they're probably wrong. They're actually scientifically proved 20% it's potentially going to be an observation, and from this observation might be a nice observation, not necessarily a negative one. Of course, we are the protagonists of our own lives, but nobody is judging us the way we judged ourselves for our day-to-day life or the interactions that we might have in our life. It is true, we are hyper aware of our emotions, our fears, our appearance. That's something we feel in excess, in my opinion. But other people is worried about their own emotions, their own fears, and their own appearance. If you are hunger of communicating, escalating in your career, in your position, or you think you are a super introvert and you would like to be a little bit less introvert, think about the spotlight effect. If you're thinking as an introvert, or if you're working your life as like everyone is looking at me, I'm telling you, psychologically has been proved 25 years ago in this study, and it's just not true. Nobody is looking at you. Nobody cares about your emotions or your feelings. This is only you, something that you observe and something that you need to work on in order to reduce the actual stress that all these thoughts are causing to you and overcome them by saying, nobody cares. Nobody's looking looking at me. And if they are, they'll probably look at me with messages of encouragement, positive messages, or something that it's technically gonna lift me up. And if there is somebody who's being a little bit more critical, or these haters as we call it on the internet, so what? It's also good to have people hating you. That means you're doing something very positive at the same time that they cannot do. You know, there's always ways and ways of saying things, and if you're fearing that, that means, you know, you're in the right position. So remember, spotlight effect. No one cares about you as much as you care about yourself. Stop caring about yourself so much and care about others. If you care about what others need and what others are hunger to receive, that's gonna reduce the spotlight effect to zero, because you're gonna be only worried about what you can give to other people instead of fearing what other people is potentially gonna judge from you, which has been demonstrated that from the spotlight effect experiments, that is pretty much nothing. Ridiculous. I hope you learned something new. Hit the subscribe button and see you in the next one. Thank you.